Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Be that leopard to come back and give him honor. Be that leopard to come back and give him glory. Be that leopard to come back and give him thanksgiving. Oh, come on, thank him. The next level that this house is heading to. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Elder Hicks, can you give me that key? Give me that key. Give me that key. Thank you, Jesus. Come on, don't stop worshiping. Don't stop worshiping. Don't stop worshiping. The Lord instructed me that after I started talking about Thanksgiving and preaching on that, even before I could leave the States, he said, you're to get a key for the woman of God. And he began to say, I've given this house the keys to the kingdom. Oh, I wish you, oh, give thanks. I don't think you understand. He's giving you the keys to the kingdom. I said, Lord, what are you saying? Whatever you bind on earth, he says he's going to bind. Whatever you bind in heaven, bind in earth, he's going to bind in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth, he's going to loose in heaven. He says he set before you an open door. He says, but for every door that will not open, he's giving you a key. This key is not just for you. He said you will unturn the destinies of the women in this house. Yeah, did it up. He said literally as you turn the key, you all's mourning would turn into dancing. I'm going to tell you just like he told me. He said, I'm pleased. He said, don't be so hard on yourself. And he said, as you all go in prayer, and this key goes with you, God says he's going to allow that key to unplug places in the world. He says, because like him, you see people with leprosy. You see people who are stricken. You see people who are bound. And you have mercy. He said, but this is a season where people are going to come back and tell you thank you. Oh, can we, for 1 minute, can we celebrate this woman of God? Oh, don't move. Just turn around for 1 minute. This is a season where people are going to sincerely tell you thank you. That people are going to sincerely undergird you. That people are not going to just support you with their mouth, but with their deed. I heard the Lord say, you see many things in the spirit. He says, but today he settles those things. He surrounds you with a force and an army that will fortify you. You will run. You will run. You will run. You will run. There's a strength coming to your body. There's a strength coming to your body. There's a strength coming to your mind. New revelation. New revelation. New revelation. New revelation. New concepts. New ideas. Come on, glorify God. Give thanks. He's giving you a gift. He's giving you a service. He's giving you someone. and all colors will come. God says, what it took you to do in 10 years, you will do in 6 months. He's saying 6 months, you're going to see this thing expand how it took you in 10 years. He said you're going to regain ground. He says he's even moving through your bloodstream and your bones. He said in age you will reverse. Give me a minute. There's something breaking off you right now. Thanksgiving. This is your season where you will be celebrated. This is your season where you accelerate. He's giving you the key. And every door you turn will open. God bless you, woman of God. Oh, come on, let's bless God. Oh, come on, just a little louder. Come on, he wants us to pay honor to this woman of God. He wants us to salute this woman of God. He wants us to glorify God for her. Give thanks for nothing, give him glory. Thank you for a gift. Thank you for a service. Thank you for a relentlessness. Thank you for a power.
Brethren, as the Church of Jesus Christ, it's always good for us to test every spirit. When I was in Philadelphia in May, I was invited to speak in a conference in Philadelphia, Total Women Conference. The visionary is Pastor Fumi Obilano. As I spoke in that meeting, the last day, suddenly something came over me and started moving my stomach. The stomach started leaping, and prophecy began to flow from my stomach. And I started struggling with God because God was asking me to release the key. And I asked him which key. He said, release the key. And I was struggling. I was asking you, are you asking me to give over to Pastor Fumi Obilano what I'm doing? He said, no, but release the key. So I stood in obedience and I called Pastor Fumi out. I said that God said I should give you a key. She started weeping, and many prophecies started blowing out from the same meeting on key. So I told her, take the key. But I said, I'm not giving you the key of my assignment. But God said I should give you a key to the nations. And we began praying. That day was something else I've not seen before. We began praying, and God began to speak more. And we realized that God said he has given me the key to the nations. And that God was asking me that I need to begin to release keys to people by association. That anyone that catches my heart, I should be able to give a key. And that was the key I gave Pastor Fumi Obilano to run. And in that meeting, I prophesied and said, God has reversed her age. And that is the prophecy that came out here. After that meeting, Pastor Fumi Obilano called me and said, Pastor Esther, we need to work together. We need to see what to do. This is serious. So she has followed this meeting online, and we spoke last night. She keyed in on Thursday. Yesterday she keyed in. So after the meeting, when I left here, I saw her call. So after dinner, I called her back. Daddy was there when I called her. She said, I followed what was going on, and I only wanted to pray for you, this my sister. And she began to pray for me on the phone yesterday, last night, that these blessings, that what God has put in your hand, that nothing will stop it. Amen. She asked, what program do you have rather in October? So I told her I'll ask Daddy. So I asked Daddy, what program do we have in October? Daddy said it's the regional conference that is coming up towards the end of the month. So I texted her back. I said, this is the meeting we have. Because she has a speaker. There is one lady, an American, who speaks with me all the time. We speak together all the time in Pastor Fumi's conference. And this woman is a millionaire. She is in real estate business, and she has so many things she does. A serious entrepreneur. So we spoke together again in this meeting last May. Suddenly, this woman came and held me, that speaker. She was a guest speaker. But she came and grabbed me and laid on my shoulder for such a long time, crying, and wet my clothes with her tears, telling me, don't leave me. Don't leave me. I held her for a long time. She cried and cried, Pastor Esther, don't leave me. So Pastor Fumi told me that she has been thinking of how to come along to this place with this woman. And we've been talking and looking at logistics. And for me to hear this morning a repetition of what the Lord spoke through me in May 2019, saying, I've given you keys. You have the key, and I want you to be releasing the keys to people who associate with you. And this is exactly what has come, that this key is not just for you. Because when God told me release the key, I said, am I releasing to Pastor Fumi? He said, no. You have the key, but give her what she needs. And I said, God, thank you. And God said, from now, you will be releasing keys. And I kept that prophecy to myself in May, but it was made public. It was in a meeting many people were, and Pastor Fumi was there. Now, God had to repeat it with somebody that I had never met. The first time I met Apostle Hunter was in our Queen Esther's Generation, Virginia, 2016. Was it 16 or 18 or 17? 16, 17. She was one of the speakers. I just listened to her sermon. She preached on Zacchaeus. And I was so blessed that I said this woman has the spirit of Jesus Christ. The way she packaged the story of Zacchaeus. And I requested that she comes here. So I met her the first time 2017 in Virginia. We have never communicated after that. Until I decided that she should come and minister here. Then we began communication, which was only invitation to come. Nothing more than that. The next time I met her after 2017 was last 2 weeks in Baltimore. When she learned I was in Baltimore to speak, her PA drove her for 5 hours. 5 hours to come and see me. They took a hotel. They slept for some hours, but I couldn't meet her. So they brought her to my hotel for us to take a short clip to market this meeting. And we did that. My meeting was so packed that we could not chat. So the next place I met her was in the meeting where I was speaking. And after that, we ate dinner. We couldn't talk. She had to drive back 5 hours back to Virginia. The next time I was seeing her was on arrival here to do this meeting. I have never discussed anything with you. I've never discussed anything, my passion, my anything. But the Lord went into your supernatural realm and reminded me the key. And this time around, to make it symbolic, you came with the key without telling me. In May this year, I was speaking in a conference in Kizeria, and suddenly Bishop William Tumisin was caught up. Bishop William Tumisin has done ministry in this nation for 57 years. 57 years he has been traveling over this nation. Suddenly something came upon him, and he began to prophesy to me, and I knelt down. And he began to say that God said, releasing me to speak to the most important places in this nation. And he began to call to the permanent secretaries, to the presidents, to the ambassadors. He categorized them. And he told the people to stand and pray for this girl. And they stood and prayed for me. Brethren, it is humbling when God picks a non-entity. When she was saying give thanks, I didn't even know a prophecy was coming. I was saying, God, thank you for picking the most foolish human being on earth to do your work. I said, God, thank you for picking the most non-entity among the non-entities to serve you. I say, God, thank you for finding somebody who doesn't know anything, and you decided to make her name great. Little did I know that there was a key coming. Thank you, Jesus.